Hello, and welcome to Speak Honest. I am your host and certified relationship coach, Jenn Noble. It has been my passion for over a decade to help women like you heal what's been holding you back from having the relationships you deserve. Are you struggling with a relationship where you can't seem to voice your emotions, needs, and boundaries without having it blow up in your face? Then you have found the right podcast, my friend. Get ready for practical tips, empowering truths, and honest conversations. Now, let's dive in. Hello, ladies, and welcome back to another episode of Speak Honest. I'm Jenn Noble, your go-to relationship coach and author of the best-selling book, Dance of Attachment. And today, we are deep into our August series on the 4 attachment stances. And specifically today, we are getting into one that I think people find hardest to even talk about. Honestly, even researchers myself have a hard time explaining and discussing this attachment stance because we've covered anxious, right? We've covered avoidant, but today we're talking about disorganized attachment, or as I like to call it, the pendulum swing dance. Now, here's what I want you to picture. You spend all day desperately wanting someone, texting them, thinking about them, planning your next date, and then the very next day with no real explanation, you're sitting there drafting a text to end things completely. But why? Nothing happened. Nobody did anything wrong, and yet you swing hard. From wanting someone close to needing them gone. Sometimes within the same 24 hours, girl. It's rough. And if that sounds exhausting, that's because it is. Trust me, I know, I lived it. I used to be the poster child for disorganized attachment. And that whiplash is exactly what we are getting into today. Now, before we dive in, I do want to remind you about something. Inside of the Speak Honest Academy, this is exactly the kind of pattern that we work on together. You are not alone in dealing with your disorganized attachment. That exhaustion you feel is because for so long you have been made to believe that you need to figure this out on your own. That's not true. It's just hard to figure it out in your romantic relationship or with your family of origin because they were kind of the ones to give you that disorganized attachment. Let's be real, right? But inside of the group, we work together. I am your coach. I am there for you. I hold space for you. The other women in the program, they hold space for you. We have live group coaching calls every week. You actually get me, your coach, live every week. Not just once a month, not just a course you do on your own. I am there in the trenches with you every step of the way. You get real regulation work, not just understanding your attachment stance on an intellectual level, but actually integrating the work into your everyday life so that way your nervous system can get online for what you actually deserve in a relationship. Now, I will tell you more about how to get started with us at the end of the episode. But for right now, let's dive in. So let's name this one clearly. I call it the pendulum swing dance because that is the exact motion happening. You are reaching for closeness with everything you got, swinging with full force, and then you get it. And all of a sudden, you are pushing it away just as fast as you got it. You are swinging hard the other direction, girl, sometimes within hours of each other. And here's what makes it different from what we've already covered the last couple of weeks. See, anxious attachment is more about the fear of abandonment. You can't be alone. You're so deeply afraid of being alone. And if somebody leaves you, you believe it's your fault. So you're preoccupied with what someone else is doing. Versus avoidant attachment, which is about the fear of engulfment, the fear of losing yourself, of being trapped, of not having any freedom, no autonomy. Both are pretty hard, right? Yeah. Well, disorganized attachment, it holds both of those fears at the exact same time, right? It is pressing the gas and the brake at the exact same time. It's very confusing. You are literally afraid of abandonment and of engulfment at the exact same time. Like, how do we even make 2 cents of this? But it just means there's no single direction to run in because the thing you want and the thing you're afraid of, well, they're the exact same thing. And the signature moves here include things like the desperate pursuit, where you're all in. You're texting constantly, all night long. You love talking to him for hours on end. You're completely certain this connection is different than anything else you've ever had. And then the sudden retreat, just to complete the other direction, right? Where right after you get closeness, the one that you were chasing, all of a sudden you feel smothered and you need distance immediately. There's the emotional translator, where a neutral comment gets read as either rejection or pressure. Pressure is a big one, but not really anything in between, right? So again, you see that anxious and avoidant dynamic going on there. Rejection, which is anxious, or pressure, which is avoidant. And then there's the relationship amnesia. Oh, this one is a big one, and it's really heavy and it hurts a lot of people, but where yesterday's perfect match becomes today's obviously wrong person, seemingly overnight. And now my client, Mia, she came to me after her 4th breakup in 2 years, and every relationship followed this identical shape. She would have this intense connection, a growing closeness, and then, oh my goodness, just this sudden urge to end things. And then a desperate attempts to get back together with him once it was actually over. Do you hear that pattern? Does this pattern sound like you? Right? It's like she's 2 different people. She just was all in and then she's all out. And I want you to really hear this part. This isn't chaos for the sake of chaos. And you're not a terrible person, and you're not confused, or you're not lazy, or any other words that are in your mind around this. It's not even a character flaw. It's 2 very real fears firing at the exact same time, and a nervous system doing its absolute best to respond to both. So where did this fear actually come from for Mia, right? Well, when we looked back into her childhood, her father was loving when he was sober, but he was really unpredictable and frightening when he was drinking. Whereas her mother was overwhelmed by all of this, and she just often checked out emotionally. So Mia grew up with love that could flip into fear without any warning at all. And the same person who comforted her could also be the person that she needed protection from. That's confusing, isn't it? Think about your own childhood. Was there someone in your life that was supposed to keep you safe, but they didn't? They hurt you. But then maybe yesterday or the day after, they did keep you safe. So it's very confusing for our bodies. And there's fascinating research here from Mary Main, who studied children in exactly this kind of environment. She found they'd do strange, contradictory things when stressed. Approaching a caregiver, but their head was maybe, turned away, or freezing mid-movement. It's as if the body genuinely couldn't decide whether to seek comfort in that moment or run from danger, because both signals were firing from the exact same source. And Bessel van der Kolk, he's the one who wrote the book, The Body Keeps the Score. He describes this dynamic simply. The caregiver becomes both the source of and, hear that and the solution to the child's distress. When that's the blueprint, your nervous system never gets a clean signal about what's actually safe. And Stephen Porges has a term for what this creates physiologically inside of our body, and it's called oscillating dysregulation. The body cycles rapidly between fight or flight and a kind of shutdown, never settling into either state long enough to actually resolve it. That is an exhausting way to live, girl. I'm not kidding you. It is literally detrimental to your body. It's what causes long-term health issues as well. Research shows physiologically our bodies actually build up this intensity inside of us, and we live with more pain or with more migraines or fibromyalgia or endometriosis. It's not something that someone chooses. It's what the body learned it had to do to survive an impossible situation. Now, here's where things started to shift for Mia. Now, the first real move for her, it wasn't fixing the pattern. It was just simply being able to name it. Just observe it clearly. Just holding space for it without turning it into more evidence that something was wrong with her. Right? Because that's the real problem. The reason why we don't think about this shit is because we don't want to have to actually think about our patterns, because if we think about our patterns, we're going to believe that we are broken or fundamentally unlovable or something is wrong with us. No, we're going to stop that right now. We are going to get clear on our patterns and just observe it. Just observe it like you're a National Geographic observer of some sort, and you're just looking at yourself saying, oh, that's interesting. Oh, every time that he texts me, I want to crawl out of my skin and run away from it instead of communicating. That's just a pattern. That distinction matters more than people realize. There's also something worth naming here, honestly, which is that this pattern can become self-fulfilling. All right, so pushing someone away before they can leave often does eventually lead to being left. Do you see how that works? And which then just reinforces the very fear that started the cycle in the first place. So if you believe someone is going to leave you, but then you start acting in ways to kind of push them away or to catch them out, or you start flaw finding on them, then of course they're going to leave you. Why would they want to be with someone like that? But once they leave, you're going to be like, ha, see, everybody leaves me. But girl, like, you were doing that to yourself. Let's be a little bit honest here. That's how our brain works. It's a part of our reticular activating system. The things that we focus on tend to come true. So we want to be careful about those self-fulfilling prophecies. And here's the part that surprises people. A genuinely stable, secure partner can actually feel more unsettling than familiar chaos, simply because it's unfamiliar. And again, that is not a flaw in judgment. And there's nothing wrong with you on that. But if you're constantly asking yourself, oh, why am I always attracted to the same guy? Why do I always seem to attract an emotionally unavailable guy? Well, it's because that chaos in him is familiar to you. So you're going to seek that out. And you just won't be attracted towards secure men. That's why one of our first steps is just healing your attachment stance, not in getting in some new relationship where the guy is suddenly going to heal you. Yes, I'm looking at you attached, the book that tells women that this is what would happen. And I could go on a 15-minute rant about how I just think that that book fundamentally ruined understanding our attachment styles, because you cannot get into a healthy relationship with a man who is secure, because you're just never going to be attracted to that. I want to make sure that's really clear. All right. So Daniel Siegel has a concept called integration that I think about constantly with disorganized attachment and the pendulum swing dance. The goal was never to eliminate the longing for closeness or even to eliminate the fear of it. It's to build enough internal stability that you can hold both in your hands, hold both at the same time without being torn apart by them. And here's what I want you to take away from Mia's story specifically. The same sensitivity that drove the swing, that finely tuned awareness of danger and connection, the hypervigilance you have, it becomes real emotional intelligence once it's regulated instead of reactive. That capacity was never the problem. It's just needed somewhere steady to land. So if today's episode felt like it was describing you a little too accurately, if you've felt that whiplash between wanting someone close but also wanting them to go away at the exact same time, then I want you to hold on to what Mia eventually understood. Naming the dance means you're no longer fully caught inside of it. You don't have to keep swinging until you're dizzy. There's a steadier rhythm available to you, and it starts with the exact kind of awareness you just practiced by listening to this episode today. And I just want to thank you so much for being here with me and with all of us and being a part of this. And if any part of this episode felt a little too close to home, I want you to know that's not something you have to sit with on your own. I offer a free 30-minute attachment assessment. It's just me and you on Zoom, alone, one-on-one, where we get clear on what exactly your attachment stance is. What are you dancing? Let's talk through what it would actually take to shift out of that insecure attachment stance into a more secure stance. And then if it feels like a great fit, that conversation we have together is actually your way into the Speak Honest Academy, where we do the real work together. We don't just talk about it, we integrate it. We do regulation. We do live coaching. We do practice. We do support. We have a community of women who are there for you. We have a WhatsApp group. We have a community online and a hub. We have courses. We have live weekly coaching. I'm with you every step of the way. Now, if that sounds like something that you need, I want to support you in this. So you can find the link to schedule your 30-minute attachment assessment with me by going to danceofattachment.com/assessment, or if that is way too much to remember, I totally get it, scroll down to the show notes and there will be a link right there for you to apply for an attachment assessment or to schedule your assessment right now. Beautiful. All right, everyone, that is it for today. I will speak with you all next week. Take care. As we wrap up today's conversation, always remember that healing is a journey, not a destination. And it is an honor to be a part of your healing journey. If you want to dig deeper into the topics we covered today, Be sure to head over to our show notes, where you can find all of the valuable information mentioned in today's episode right there. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's podcast. Your feedback means the world to us and helps others discover our podcast. Until next time, remember to speak up and speak honest.